Hello and welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are back on the international with the topper because we're going to do a bit of topping. Now we're not going we're going topping grazing fields. So we have one grazing field that we're going topping today. It's where the bullocks are, where we're strip grazing them, so we're giving them maybe like a foot or two every day or two, just to sort of so that they can eat the grass more efficiently, eat the grass more. We're getting more out of our grass than we would if we just let them out into the full field. So we're strip grazing them, but there's also another situation with the fields that the bullocks are in that I will explain to you when we're over in the field topping. But what I want to do now is you can see that the skids here on the topper is up to their last, so that is the topper is cutting or topping at the peak of its height. I want to lower it down a notch or two. I want to lower it down so that the top of the skid here is level with the top of the topper, so I might have to lower it down maybe a notch or two. So I'm going to have to lift up the tractor, because at this moment in time I can get these ones by sticking my hand in here. I can reach then the bolt, the bolt, the far side. I can turn the nut while keeping a grip of the bolt, so the bolt isn't turning as well. But this side is just that little bit further in. I can't get my hand in far enough here. So what I'll have to do, the PTO is disconnected, because I'll have to lift up the topper. I'll have to put blocks or something at the wheels so the tractor doesn't roll or anything. And then I'll have to sort of climb under and get those bolts out and lower down the skid. And I need to have the tractor running when the lift is up. Otherwise, if I have the tractor turned off, the lift will slowly start going down. And I kind of have the PTO plugged in when the tractor is on, while I'm underneath the topper, in case for whatever reason the PTO decides to engage. So I need to have the tractor running for the lift to stay up, but I don't want the PTO shaft plugged in while I'm underneath it. So we'll do that. There's also plenty of diesel in the tractor for what we need it for. I topped it up with oil. The gearbox on the topper is okay, and the PTO shaft, both sides, that side is greased and that side is greased. So everything is ready to go, other than to lower the skids, and we'll head over and tidy up, because there's a lot of rushes, clumps of grass that they didn't eat, and some thorny grass as well. So I want to try and top that as low as I possibly can. Now we were going using this, which is a side mower. You can also use it for topping as well if you wanted to get a really low, after cattle graze it, if you want to get a really low finish, a really low cut on it. It won't leave any swarts or anything because the grass isn't long enough. And by the way, this is our uncle's side mower, but there's a problem. That is broke. It's supposed to be a blade there, like on that side, but it snaps this side. So that's out of action for now. We were hoping for that to be back in action for this job, but it is not. So we'll just have to make do with our topper, which will do the exact same job. It'll do the exact same job. So I just want to lower this down a notch or two, just so I can get as low as a cut as I possibly can, but it's not too low to the ground that any clumps of soil or mounds of soil is clipping the actual blade on the topper itself and do damage on that. So I want to cut it low, to get as much of the grass and stuff cut as I possibly can, but not too low, in case I do damage to the PTO shaft, the gearbox, or the blade on the topper. So I'm going to get a few spanners and whatnot, and we'll get to loosening these bolts and lowering them skids. The topper is lowered, as you can see. The skids are now level. The top of the skids are now level with the top of the topper, and it's the same the far side as well, that the top of the skids is level with the top of the topper, rather than the top of the skids being level with the bottom of the box iron, which is what it was at. So I started it up above there where it was, and I was the plan was for me to loosen the bolts first, the whole way around, the 8 bolts, loosen them first, and then set up the camera and then just take them all off and lower down the skids and do all that and record all that footage. But it turned out it was harder than I anticipated, which I could have done it yesterday evening as I'm recording this video, but I said, no, I'd stick the topper on myself and lower the skids down myself. It's not going to be that hard. It's not going to be that hard, no. But it turned out, yes, it was going to be that hard. But anyways, we got there in the end, longer than it should have taken. But it is what it is. It's lowered now. I still have to stick on the PTO shaft, but that's not... I'm not going to say it's not a big job because something's going to go wrong. But whether or not you can see, I'm sorry, there's not enough room to stick the camera up properly. So it's lowered. If I take it off the tripod, there we go. You can see the blades are lowered, so it's not cutting the whole way onto the ground, which is exactly what I want. I don't want it to cut it the whole way down to the ground because I'll do damage to the blade and the topper and whatnot. But it's not cutting too high that I'm going to start not cutting bits that I want to cut, because the grass is grazed. It's grazed grass that I want to cut and tidy up the field and just get rid of any rushes, docks, lumps of grass that they just didn't eat, and thronings of grass that they didn't eat. That's all I'm trying to get rid of here, so I'm trying to cut as low as possible, but not too low. So that is that. Now, see, it's ready to go. Topper, tractor is all good to go, topper is all good to go, just the PTO shaft, and I can go ahead and start topper at long last, finally. So yeah, I'll connect the PTO shaft and wrap the chain around somewhere so that the PTO is spinning but the cover is not spinning. That's what the safety cover is for. But yeah, I'll just go and do that, and we can start topping and we'll see how the bullocks are getting on. And also, to get into the field, I'll have to bring probably about half a bucket to 3/4 bucket full of meal, and when I land at the gate, I'll go in, give the bullocks their meal. While they're preoccupied with the meal and the trough, I can open all the gates I need to open, drive into the field, close all the gates up again, and then I won't be harassed with trying to drive the tractor in, open gates, while keeping the bullocks back at the same time. They can be preoccupied with meal. And then the same situation when I'm leaving, because I'll only give them half of the bucket that I bring. The other half, when I'm leaving, give the last half of the bucket of meal to the bullocks. They're preoccupied. I'll open up all the gates, drive out of the field, close up all the gates, and Bob's your uncle. So yeah, I cannot forget to bring, when I'm putting on the PTO shaft, to not forget to bring the bucket of mail, because I have to go over the road. So yeah, not to forget a bucket of mail. Anyways, PTO shaft, bucket of mail, and away we go. We are away, topping away. So, as you can see, there's rushes, there's just lumps of grass, and that's what we're trying to get rid of. So, and that's why I lowered down the topper, so it cuts the grass down way lower to the ground, rather than up high, because all this was grazed by the bullocks over there, which are currently at their trough eating their meal, which I'm after giving them to distract them while I was getting in the gateway there. So now that we're topping a bit lower than usual, even though before we rebuilt the topper when we were using our old one, the height that I have it at now is the height that the old topper was at constantly, all the time. And that always topped away, no bother, no issues. So I'm hoping we'll be able to top away here, no bother and no issues. I just need to be careful for any stones like there is there. Just keep an eye out that I might have to lift the top up a small bit. So we'll do a couple of ends anyway, see how we get on. Stay out of that place, that could be dodgy enough. So this field now is not fully grazed yet, but we do have a plan for some of this field, which I'll tell you now in a minute. And as usual, high first, 1500 ribs. As you can see, it is cutting it low. So when we come to the rushes or the clumps of grass, it should cut it to a similar height where the lower grass is on the field, hopefully. That's the plan. So just up here, as you can see, that's where the grazed line is. The wire, the strip wire. So we're going to continue to keep moving that wire and strip grazing them. And once we get our silage field cut, we plan on getting a couple of bales off this field as well. That is the plan. We're going to strip graze them for as long as we can until we cut the furrow in our silage field. But once that field is cut and the silage is gone off it, we'll be cutting this field, and there's another grazing field we want to cut for silage as well. But I might make a video about that, a separate video all about that at some point. So that is the plan with this field. But for now, we're just tapping, trying to tidy it up as much as possible. And whether or not the camera is picking it up or not, once we finish tapping, we'll go out and have a look at the whole field when it's fully tapped. So I'll put the camera down and we'll get straight back to we're still at tapping, but we'll keep our head down and keep at the tapping and get a couple of clips as well. So yeah, so we'll see you whenever. It's all tapped, as you can see, and the tractor and topper just there. Yeah, so it trimmed it very, very nicely indeed. It's a good job I lowered it, because if I left it the way it was, it wouldn't have topped it as low to the ground and as neat as it is now, because the lumps of grass that was plotted around the place, the rushes, it just made a very, very good job of it. Because the likes of when you're topping the grass that was grazed, you're better topping that low or cutting it low. And there was just a clog of rushes just here, a big lump of rushes just here, and we sprayed them. But you can see that it's cut it a lot lower. It's cut it way, way lower. And just in general, the grass, the topping, it's way more evened out. It just looks a whole lot better. So yeah, we also have to do where the heifers are and the two cows and the two calves are, that field behind the yard. We have to do that yet, but we might have to leave that a couple of days because they're almost at the end of it being strip grazed. So there's not a whole pile. There'll be a couple of days left for them of moving the fence and strip grazing them, and then they'll be moving into a different field, and then I can go into that field where they're in now and do the same as what I done here. But yeah, it's done a nice job. Yesterday evening, as I'm recording this video, as always, we sharpened the blades on the topper as well, so they weren't blunt. The brother sharpened them. He said that they'd still go. They're not blunt at all. They had they had a fairly good edge on them, but he just gave them a quick rub of the grinder, and away we go. And it cut very, very nicely. But yeah, and I think I may have mentioned early on in the topping that I was going to get a few clips, but it's kind of hard to plant in the camera on maybe a wooden post or somewhere, try and get a time lapse, and it's kind of hard to put it somewhere where you get a good view of everything happening. But the next field that we're going to, which will be in the next couple of days, where the heifers are, is way better field for that sort of job. The next time we'll see each other, I guess, is when we're going to hop in the field where the heifers are. So yeah, I guess we'll see you until then. And we are back topping. So we're in the fields that the heifers are in. As I'm recording this clip, it's the next day after I topped the field where the bullocks were. So I talked with the old man yesterday evening when we were moving the fence for the heifers here, and he said, "Top away, sir." So he just said we could top here, get it over and done with. So that's what I'm going to do now. Well, that's what I'm in the progress of doing. So, and we'll try and get a few clips of the topping as well in this field. And again, in this field, it's just brushes, as you can see, tawny grass, and just big mounds of lumps of grass dotted around the place. So, yeah, I'll do a ring or two, and I'll plant the camera somewhere and get some footage of the topping. So you can also see here the rushes. So yeah, we put the camera down, do a ring or two, set the camera up somewhere, and do a time lapse or something on the topping. all done. All is finished. So hopefully I got a couple of good clips there at the topping. And yeah, it's these big, you can still see where the big lumps of grass was, just the big lumps that were plotted around everywhere. There's another one there, and there's another one just there. It still sort of cut them, but obviously it's not cutting very low to the ground. But you know, I've done a fairly good job. Probably the better job to do would have been using the mower, the uncle's mower that you've seen at the start of the video. That would probably been the better idea, but obviously that's banjaxed, it's out of action for now. But it probably will be back in action at some point. It just wasn't in action when we actually needed it. But yeah, so that's 2 fields done. The field where the bullocks are being strip grazed, and this field right here where the heifers, 2 cows, 2 calves and the teaser bull are being strip grazed. So yeah, it is soft. There was a soft spot there and a soft spot down there by the corner, but nothing too hectic, nothing too hectic at all. But that's fairly clean looking. It's better than what it was. It's leveled out. The uncle's mower probably would have cut it way closer to the ground, because that it's technically is a mower, but you can use it for topping as well if you really wanted to. It would leave it as if it was a carpet. It would level out everything exactly. Everything would be the exact same height. But the topper that we have there, and it's with the skids lowered, done a fairly good job. If I left the skids on that topper over where the bullocks were, I don't think it would have made too much of a difference. But here, they needed it to be lowered. If I left them at the height they were at before I lowered them, I could be going around and around this field here, and I'd only be burning diesel and burning oil, because it wouldn't be cutting anything at all. So it needed to be lowered. That was the right job to do. If I was topping the likes of just a field of rushes, then I probably would have it either the skids lift it and go around, or I could leave it like that, lift up the topper, put out the top link so that it's sitting level where when it's lifted up on the ground, and go around and then go around it again with it lowered if I was topping rushes. But trying to just tidy up a field where cattle were being grazed or strip grazed, the lower you can get a cut, the better, which is what I done. But yeah, heifers are looking good. You know, there's this cow here, which was the last cow that calved, which is not the last cow to calve. We still have a couple of more. Teaser bull was following her around yesterday evening. This one right here. And as you can see, there is paint. Now, our AI man says paint on this side is only like him trying maybe lifting his chin up and sliding his head across or something. It's more up at the back is where you want to be looking, and that paint there is what I'm looking at. This paint here, I'm not bothered about that, but it's that paint there. She's still a bit excited, is she? Anyways, we're getting a bit sidetracked there. That's nothing to do with topping, but that's the field topped, looking very, very nice indeed. But yeah, the next field that these girls are going into is that field just above there. Once they have all the stuff grazed, they go into that field. We're going to give them half of that field there. There is rushes as well in that field, but there's still a lot of grass as well. So I think we're letting them in to eat the grass first for a couple of weeks, and then we let them into the other half of it. And we might have to, depending on how much grass they eat or trample or whatnot, how much grass is left, we might have to lift the skids up again to go around and top the rushes, or we might just be able to leave it like that. Who knows? Only time will tell. But yeah, that's this field in here really. just in there. Anyways, that's for another day, that. But field is topped, the bullocks field is topped, and it's looking very good indeed. So I think I might end the video there. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out my merch, the link to that will be down in the description, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. Take care.